Hello. Had a little bit of tech troubles, and but we're here now. And I don't know if this is the camera, but let's just clean it off just in case. All right, that's a little bit better. And we'll give people just a few minutes. Hopefully, I'm coming through okay. I'm very excited to be going live here on the Better Days um, YouTube. Blurry. All right, there we go. So, pretty excited about that. This is our first live here on the Better Days Wellness Clinic YouTube channel, and we have switched to the live format. So just want to give people a few minutes to see if they'll be able to join us in real time. If not, I will definitely move on and people can catch it in the replay. And apologize because my eyes are watering a little bit and everything. So I'm going to get started in 2 minutes just to see because I had to create a new live. I'm so used to being able to do it from my phone, but YouTube said no. So didn't want to delay our Wellness Wednesdays because we haven't quite reached the sub count. So that's why we're here on the laptop. So give people a few more minutes just in case they may have been looking for the previous link that was created. And hopefully I'm coming through okay. And things of that nature. I very seldom go live from the laptop, so it's a new experience. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I want to welcome everyone to our Better Days Wellness Clinic Wellness Wednesdays. This is a new feature, I guess is the right word. This is a new feature that we will be doing weekly, a way for us to engage with the community, a way for us to get information out to you in a different kind of way. I'm a bit of a bigger fan of the YouTube live format than Instagram. But we haven't completely abandoned going live on Instagram, but I think majority of our lives will be here. And if I can figure it out, I will see if there's a way that I can stream to the Instagram at the same time. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining, whether you'll be here in real time or watching it in the replay. Today, our focus for the live is how gut health affects breast cancer risk. So before we get into it, I am Tanisha Rayson Henry. I am the founder and CEO of Better Days Wellness Clinic. I'm a board certified family nurse practitioner. I am not your board certified family nurse practitioner. So the information covered today, the information discussed today is for informational and educational purposes only. Having said that, let's go ahead and get into it. So today I want to talk about how your gut health may influence breast cancer risk and simple ways you can start protecting yourself right away. All right. So we hear so much about mammograms, especially during this time here in October with October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we may from time to time hear of like our genetics playing a role in it, the BRCA test and things of that nature. And then obviously, if we have family history or family or friend connections to it, then it's usually on the top of our mind. But we don't often talk about what's happening on the inside of our bodies and the environment that cancer grows or doesn't grow in. So, question for you guys. If your gut can affect your weight, mood, and immune system, could it also affect your breast health? Feel free to put that answer in the chat, whether you are here in real time or in the replay. So we're going to get into a little bit of what the science says, what research shows. And so when it comes to your gut bacteria, what it does is it helps metabolize estrogen. So what does that mean? Metabolize estrogen. Basically, what this means is this is how the body breaks down and clears out estrogen. So after it's being used. So most of the metabolizing happens in the liver. And so once that's done in the liver, it's the extra is for the most part carried out through bowel movements and urination. However, when that process slows down, estrogen can linger in the body and throw hormones off. So you may have heard someone talk about being estrogen dominant, right? So they have a lot of extra estrogen in their body. When you carry extra weight, estrogen, likes to hang out there as well. So that ties into your gut, right? In the gut bacteria. So in short, too much estrogen equals increased risk for developing breast cancer. Okay. So second thing in regards to gut health and the role it plays in either lowering your risk or increasing your risk for developing breast cancer is something called dysbiosis. And what is that? To put it simply, it's your gut bacteria is out of balance. So that means that the bad bacteria is winning and the good bacteria is struggling. And so how do you know just from how you feel per se? Excuse me, guys. Basically, if you're dealing with bloat, right? So whether you eat a salad or a cheeseburger, you're bloated, getting bloated. You have low energy despite maybe getting good, solid 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. You have no energy. And you can just tell that hormonally you're off, right? Maybe acne, joint pain, any number of those things. So the chances are you have some form of dysbiosis, some form of where that bad bacteria is kind of outdoing the good bacteria. So what happens with that? Dysbiosis brings on more inflammation throughout the body, and it weakens the immune system. So inflammation loves to contribute to increasing the risk for breast cancer and other chronic conditions. Inflammation can be, how could I say, like a silent, like a silent villain, having that increased inflammation in your body can kind of unfortunately set you up to develop a number of chronic conditions, not just breast cancer. So think of your gut like a factory that helps process hormones. When the factory is running smoothly, your body keeps estrogen in check, right? But when it's backed up with the wrong workers, right? People who don't know what they're doing, people who are bad at their job, right? So in this case, tons of sugar, stress, maybe you on antibiotics for some reason, then what happens is estrogen piles up and inflammation rises. Okay. And so with those two things, increased estrogen, increased inflammation equals increased risk for developing breast cancer. So what I would like to do is, if you have ever experienced or noticed that your digestion or hormone, uh, let me say that again. If you've ever noticed that your digestion or like your hormones feel off when you're stressed, put a purple heart or say yes, in the chat. And we're going to talk about that role and why that matters, especially for women over 40. So if you didn't know, it is encouraged that once a woman hits 40, they should begin getting mammograms. Now, if you are someone, like I mentioned earlier, um, personal history of breast cancer, obviously, um, family history, um, maybe you tested for the BRCA gene, then you will want to start. The rule is like if you had a family member who had, let's say they were diagnosed at 38, then you should start doing some type of screening at 28. So like 10 years sooner than like the youngest family member to have developed breast cancer. But typically, they wouldn't even start doing mammograms on you until you at least 30. So just a little story time about me. I do have a family history of breast cancer. Both grandmothers had it. One ended up passing due to it, came back a second time, and one, it never came back, and she just passed last year, pretty much just due to old age. So she was a 13-year breast cancer survivor. Yeah, because I think it was 2011 when she was diagnosed, and then she passed in 2024. And then I have a younger cousin who developed and passed at a very young age in her early 40s. So just from my paternal grandmother, the one who had passed a while ago, I started being very, vigilant. I know I didn't probably say it the way it's supposed to be, but I get tongue tagged sometimes. Very cautious about, make sure I'm doing my monthly self exams and things like that. And so any little change, I was going to the doctor. So I have been getting ultrasounds on my breast since I'm probably my late 20s, and then a mammogram every year since then, just because I have such a, unfortunately, a strong family history for it and everything. So just a little FYI, just in case, because I know we probably all are hearing about get a mammogram, but wanted to give you a little bit of information as to when should you get them, how soon, and things of that nature. So why this matters for women, especially like over 40, right? So as we get older, right, we start to experience perimenopausal symptoms is probably the best way to put it. Perimenopause, you can't open up a social media platform without it being talked about in some way, right? Whether kind of poking fun at it or, cries for help. So what is happening is that we're getting older, and so our hormones are beginning to kind of shift up and down, right? Another thing that we tend to start to see in women over 40 is that our digestion is slowing down, right? So now if our digestion is slowing down, then it's going to cause changes to the gut microbiome. And then what do we have? Increased bloat, increased food sensitivity, things like that. And so those are all things that are going to kind of trigger the gut environment to go off track. Okay. And so with that happening, take it back to what I was mentioning at the beginning of the live, you got all these things going on. So then women, providers tend to start focusing on the perimenopausal symptoms when chances are, if we focus on the gut first, those perimenal symptoms could end up being resolved, right? By healing the gut, optimizing the gut. So this is where lifestyle truly becomes like medicine, right? The healing opportunities. Taking care of the gut can help reduce those symptoms that so many of us tend to experience as we get closer and closer to menopause. So, how do you go about making lifestyle changes that will help improve the gut microbiome, the gut environment, to help relieve the things that you feel with perimenopausal, like, night sweats and what do they call them? Hot flashes, right? Not sleeping well, not pooping every day, just a number of things. The list of symptoms that fall into perimenopause now probably is almost, 60 different symptoms that are common to that stage of life. So, where can you start to build a gut that protects you? So, I have created a framework called R.E.S.E.T, which stands for Restore, Eat Well, Sleep and Stress Management, Exercise, and Transformation. So, how can you take the R.E.S.E.T framework to help improve your gut and help lower your risk for developing breast cancer? So, let's go through it. So, if you think about R being restored, many of us need to kind of restore that gut microbiome. How can we get it more optimal? How can we balance it? So, one thing we can do is taking a quality probiotic. Probiotics help keep the gut balanced, it helps with digestion, and it also supports immunity. Like 70, depending on the research, I want to say somewhere between 70-75% of your body's immunity, ability to kind of fight off things, keep you healthy, is located in the gut. So that's another factor, right? You also can begin to eat gut supportive foods. What are foods that fall into that category? Foods that you're not highly sensitive to. How do you know? You could do self-elimination, right? You can go with general categories like gluten, dairy, right? Those are like two of the big ones that usually will pop up on most people's sensitivity lists. So you could take that approach, or in better days, we do offer an amazing hair strand analysis that can come up with 1,700 plus health markers about what's going on the inside to help target your gut healing plan. Because there could be a very good chance you don't have a high sensitivity to gluten or dairy, but it might be something else that you're consuming every day. I've done this test, and dairy was definitely a strong one for me. Gluten wasn't as heavy as you would probably think, and at least what I thought. However, apples was, as well as shrimp, right? So If I had just taken kind of a blind approach, I probably would have felt some difference, but I consume apples quite a bit, as well as shrimp. So I know I needed to do some work on my gut so that I could enjoy those things in moderation without it causing um, a disruption to my gut. So, excuse me, guys. And so the other thing, as far as restore, you want to detox, right? You want to detox. So again, how do you know what type of detox you can do? Here at Better Days, we have an amazing 14-day detox that is good for most people. Based on that hair strain analysis, it will show gut health. It will show stress and inflammation. And so we could you can do that detox along with removing those high sensitivity foods to help begin to restore the gut. We also have partnered with an amazing supplement company who provides a deeper detox for those who really have a lot of inflammation in their body, and things of that nature. Or other things, parasites, viruses, and things like that. We also offer an advanced gut health test called a GI map that can really get down to what exactly is going on in your gut. And so from there, it may reveal that you need a deeper detox. So it's a couple of things you do to restore. You want to eliminate high sensitivity foods. You want to nourish the gut by having a good quality probiotic to help kind of feed that good bacteria. And then you also want to detox to get rid of the toxins and reduce that number, bring that number of bad bacteria back into balance. Because we need bad bacteria. It's called oh Lord, opportunistic. I'm getting so tongue tied, y'all. But that's why I love lives. You get to see the real deal. Opportunistic. There we go. Couldn't get it out. So when we say bad, just for like common language, it's opportunistic bacteria. Good bacteria is called commensal bacteria. Just in case, just if you have like a, want to kind of nerd out moment. So that's what restore looks like, right? Getting the information you need, setting up the steps to eliminate these foods. And like I say, it doesn't mean you have to eliminate them forever, but once that gut is more optimized with the right foods, supplements, rest, stress reduction, exercise, then you can enjoy those things once again in moderation, right? So then eating well. Eating well. What does that look like? You want to make sure that you're getting enough fiber. Typical American diet, we don't get enough fiber. And fiber actually is a great thing. Typically, when we think of fiber, we think of just, oh, it's what helps us poop. But it also does amazing things to help the gut heal. One fiber in particular, inulin, is amazing. It feeds the good bacteria. So it will fall under the category, if you ever heard of a prebiotic, right? So you need you need probiotics to help, but emphasis on having a game plan, right? Starting from something like a hair strand analysis and getting a I'm struggling, foundational plan in place so that you can begin to optimize the health of your gut. And so more fiber, especially something like inulin fiber, and then less processed sugar. Processed foods do a number on your gut. So if you can eat more whole foods, less processed foods, less foods coming out of a box or a bag, right? Less foods that you don't know how to pronounce the chemicals, in the ingredient list and things of that nature. Foods that are not GMO. You'd be surprised. I challenge you today, if you happen to go to the grocery store or a corner store or, a 7-Eleven, you know, just go and pick a couple of random items off the shelf and look at the back and see if it says bioengineered food, genetically altered food. You'll be surprised how many things we actually are consuming. Some of them we consider healthy, and they are GMO. GMO also foods also do a number on your gut health. Okay, so that's the E. So S stands for sleep and stress management. So the less sleep you get, the more stress hormone is produced, cortisol, and it inflames your gut. So people who say, oh, I only need 4 or 5 hours of sleep, that is not good. That is not good. You could be exercising, you could be eating well, you can feel like you're doing, pretty good with your stress levels and all that stuff. But 4 or 5 hours of sleep is just not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. Sleep is not only for us to kind of recharge, it's for the body to recharge as well. Okay. So then stress, like I mentioned, you're not getting quality sleep, not enough sleep. No such thing as catching up on sleep on the weekend. Your cortisol levels are raising, right? So if you have this chronic high stress hormone raging in your body, what is that going to do? It slows down your digestion. And as I already discussed, once your digestion slows down, now we got problems, because now the bad bacteria is increasing and the good bacteria is decreasing. And so now we don't want the bad bacteria taking over. We don't want that, because that's when all the problems come. Okay? So getting enough sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours, deep breathing, just taking a moment to deep breathe. You'd be surprised how that just kind of calms the body down. Journaling, things of that nature. I advocate for people to take maybe the first 10 minutes of their day to themselves, whether they get out of the bed, or have a special place in their home, whatever. Just 10 minutes to kind of set the intentions for the day, to breathe, to just say, I'm going to embrace the day and I'll be equipped, with whatever comes my way, just so that you can start the day from a place of a little bit more peace versus, oh my God, I got a million things to do today. It's a different kind of energy. And then also at night, put the phone down. I know it's so hard. We so used to the phones and just kind of seeing what's going on in the world through socials and things of that nature. But if you put the phone down prior to going to, actually falling asleep and maybe reading or journaling, that also calms the body down. So, now you can maybe get a deeper sleep, a longer sleep, and that does wonders for the gut as well as yourself. Okay. And then the next E is exercising. So consistency over intensity, right? Sometimes we think we got to do boot camps and some of these more like hit focused exercising, and that kind of exercising, brings up your stress level. People underestimate the power of walking, stretching, Pilates, yoga, things of that nature. You don't have to go all out and lift 200 pounds to feel like you're doing your body good. Light weights, bands for strength resistance and things of that nature. Everything doesn't have to be high intensity. So I tell people who already don't have like an exercise routine, find a way to get 5,000 steps every day. People have jobs where they sit. If you're allowed to, if your job allows it, 10 minutes before the hour, go walk the hallway 2 times and then come sit back down. Before you know it, maybe by the time you leave work, you're closer to the 5,000 steps. Then once you get home, you're moving about this and that. If you need to get your 5,000 steps, but you really want to watch your favorite program, that's fine. Most of these programs have some type of commercial or ad. On a commercial or ad, instead of just sitting there, stand up and march in place. Like, it's a way to get almost everything done without feeling like I don't have enough time, right? It's a way to get almost anything done without feeling like you don't have enough time. Now, if you just want to dedicate, which will be even better, dedicate, start with 20 minutes of walking. You don't have to go get gym memberships and things of that nature. You know, walk in your neighborhood if that's conducive for you. If you have a treadmill, invest in a walking pad. Those became very popular during the time of C19. It's ways to get anything you need done, y'all. So start small and then build up, right? Because the goal is consistency. I read a book earlier this year and it kind of changed my whole world in regards to how to get healthy habits to stick. It's called Atomic Habits. I believe the author is James Clear. And he talks about 1% better every day. Sometimes we think, oh, I need to lose 30 pounds. And so it's like we want to lose the 30 pounds in 30 days. And it's like, that's so much pressure, right? It's so much pressure to say, oh, I got to go sign up for the gym and I got to go every day and do that. Start with just a 20-minute walk every day. Can you do that for 30 days? Can you do that one thing for 30 days? And then reevaluate as to what's the next step, right? We have to learn how to embrace the journey and know that we can get there. Take the timetable off of it. We can get there. But the first thing we have to do, we have to be consistent with it. So, progress over perfection, as they say. All right. So once you take restore, eating well, sleep and stress management, and exercise all together, you should arrive to T, the transformation. This is where you're beginning to stack habits, right? One small win at a time, kind of like what I was just talking about, doing one thing. A little bit of story time again. I was getting gel injections for my knee. The cartilage under my kneecap was starting to thin out. So not arthritis, but if I didn't do something, definitely, could lead to that eventually at some point. So I was getting gel injections. This is what the recommendation was from the orthopedic surgeon. And I might have went too far because they were saying, oh, take it easy, this, and that, just kind of walk and do your normal stuff, but no jumping, no this, no that. So I was like, okay, I took it as don't exercise. And well, in the time of starting the injections to the time that I finished the course of injections, I end up gaining weight. And I said, okay, what do you expect? You're not getting your 7,500 steps in, every day. Like, that's my 1% better. Can I get 7,500 steps in every day? So whether it happens organically from just, being up and about in the world, or if I do have to jump on the treadmill and, do 10 or 30 minutes, to get it. But that was something that I was able to do, and it would get me 1%, better. It would keep my weight down. It would keep me able to kind of manage and things like that. And so when I stopped being 1% better, I gained weight. So I started back October 1st with my 7,500 steps each and every day. I'm doing that for the month of October, and we'll see what else, I transition into, because I do want to get back to playing pickleball, learn how to play pickleball this summer. But I also added, because I saw it on YouTube, doing 100 kettlebell swings a day. And when I tell you, doing the kettlebell, getting my 7,500 steps, I haven't gotten on the scale, but I can see the difference already. And today is just, I haven't even done it for today. So it's only been a week. So just a week of 1% better. Doing the kettlebell swings, not even 10 minutes. I could really do them probably at the beginning of my day, but sometimes I get to doing work and things of that nature. So I might end up doing it in the evening when I'm making sure I get my steps. But I took the pressure off. Here's two things that I can do. And my goal right now is just to be consistent every single day. That's it. That's all. Whether I whether the scale moves or not, the win will be I showed up for 31 days and I did this, right? Now, November, I may add something else. It all depends. I might stick with it. Maybe I might get a heavier kettlebell. I don't know. But the thing is, I need to keep it simple and doable until I'm ready, to elevate it. So we have to start being solution based when it comes to our health and what we need versus making excuses. I don't know how else to say it. That's just what it is. So that's the reset framework. That's how it can be applied in regards to how can we help optimize our gut? How can we help our hormonal health so that we can start feeling better, looking better, and reducing our risk of developing breast cancer? So um, I see we do have a few people here live. Feel free to put it in the chat. Which of these areas feels the hardest for you right now? Is it getting a plan together in regards to what's the right supplements, detoxes to do, eating well, sleep, stress management, exercise? Put it in the chat if you feel free, feel comfortable doing it. So I just kind of gave my answer. The exercising was what was the trouble. I went too far with just putting exercise down, So I picked it back up and I did it in a way that it would make it easier for me, right? To get back in being consistent. Not, I gotta get these 10 pounds off. Nope. I have to be consistent because consistency will get me there, right? So that's what I'm doing. That was my hardest thing, getting back in the rhythm of being consistent. So, a couple of takeaways from the live today. I encourage you to add one high fiber whole food daily. So, what's a high fiber whole food? So, the reason I'm emphasizing whole food, I know it's a bunch of fiber snacks and fiber this and fiber that, and processed foods that will say high in fiber. And so you think, well, I'm doing good, it say it's fiber this or fiber that. That's not how I want you to get that fiber in, because also, like I say, you flip that box around, it probably is GMO, okay, not organic. And something doesn't have to be organic to be non-GMO. Those are the type of foods you should be wanting to eat. Foods that are non-GMO or organic. Okay, those are the best to choose from. So whole high fiber foods are oats, berries, chia seeds, flax seeds, apples, pears, any of those. I recently, I would say probably in the last year, got into chia seeds. I used to be like, oh, they don't even really taste like nothing. Unless I'm wrong, I usually was putting them in my yogurt. I would do a yogurt bowl. So I would do yogurt, Greek yogurt, chia seeds, some pecans, some blueberries, and this organic kind of granola that was really good. But like I mentioned earlier, I did a hair strand analysis, and like I say, high sensitivity was dairy. So I had to find alternatives. So I have found some pretty good coconut based yogurts. And so now I'll do that instead of the Greek yogurt. Don't get as much protein, but I still get that feel, and satisfaction of having a yogurt bowl. Um, with the granola, because I had a moderate sensitivity to oats. So I've also pulled back from that because I do enjoy oatmeal. And that granola obviously had oats in it. So I pulled back from that. So now my yogurt bowl looks like that coconut yogurt, chia seeds, blueberries, and pecans. And it's just as good. So it's just about getting your mind wrapped around these things. Like, you can stick to, but I like it this way, but your body don't like it. So what do you want? Do you want to feel better, look better, be better, or you want to just keep doing the same thing? That's just basically what you have to ask yourself at the end of the day. So add 1 high fiber whole food daily. 2, you can include fermented foods. So what's fermented foods? Greek yogurt, sauerkraut, kombucha, those like kombucha drinks. Some people make theirs at home. Some purchase the ones in the store. That's one good thing to help with gut health. And then move 30 minutes a day. Like I say, if you have the type of job where you kind of glued to a desk, but if it allows you to get up and go walk the hall for 5 minutes, if you do that 6 times a day during your shift, your time at work, that's 30 minutes of walking right there. You got to figure out a way. How can I reach my goal, but incorporate it into the things that's already going on, right? Don't tell yourself that like the only way you can lose weight or exercise or do this is going to a gym, going to a class. That's not true. That's not true. Okay. So we have a few people. So do we have any questions about any of the information shared today? And I hope I was coming through pretty clearly. Let me change this because I don't know if you all are. Okay. All right. So, okay, maybe no questions, and that's fine. I will answer any questions put in the chat for people who watch the replay and get back to you. So no pressure to do so now. So let's just kind of recap things about the connection between gut health and how it can either increase your risk for developing breast cancer or help lower the risk for developing breast cancer. So gut health isn't just about digestion. It's about protecting your whole body, including your breast. If you want to learn how to personalize this approach that I talked about with the reset, please feel free to visit the website www.betterdayswc.com and schedule a wellness strategy consultation. Right now, I am offering many wellness strategy consultations for the completely free. So if you are interested in that, you can book that on the website as well. And it's just a snapshot to kind of, you'll complete a quiz so that I have an idea of where you are. And then we can jump on a call based on that quiz, based on what it is that you're experiencing, and based on where you would like to go. Then we can see if what we offer at Better Days is a good fit. So you can do a full wellness strategy consultation. And you can, like I say, schedule that on the website, as well as I believe you should have access to the mini wellness strategy as well. Shorter period of time, kind of a little bit more cut and dry. But still worth it. And so we're offering those for the remainder of the year. And let's see. I think I hit everything. So again, remember that the gut plays a huge role in the metabolizing of estrogen, right? And so if you think about it like that, that hey, if I keep my gut healthy, I should be reducing my risk because my body won't be carrying extra estrogen. Now, some things that and we'll talk about that in future wellness Wednesdays this month, is some things that are just out of our control. This is in our control. This is called a modifiable risk. This is something that we can change. Non-modifiable risk are things we can't change. I cannot change my family history of breast cancer. I cannot change that I'm a woman. I cannot change that I'm over 50, right? Those are just things that we cannot change. Those are risk factors that, gives us what's the word? Gives us, puts us at risk for developing breast cancer. So I hope that you all enjoyed this and found value in it. I'm super excited to be able to do Wellness Wednesdays as a live here on the channel versus uploaded content. That way, you get to see me, kind of get to see my personality, decide if I'm the type of provider that you feel will be a good fit for you in your functional wellness needs. And like I say, you'll always be able to do Q&A in real time or part of the replay. So if we don't have any questions, I will go ahead and end the live. I do thank you for your time today. And again, I hope you found this very beneficial and look forward to this kind of content every week. Obviously, this month, kind of focusing on breast cancer awareness and its connection to functional wellness and things of that nature. But each month we'll have like a different topic. All right. So take care. Bye.